All right, hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Chase Thomas Podcast, where I'm still the aforementioned Chase Thomas, coming to you live from Knoxville, Tennessee, Everything School HQ, America's college sports town, NFL Super Friends, here on a Monday night, because, you know, you have to take some time away from the Tennessee Volunteers landing a top 5 offensive tackle in the 2024 recruiting cycle, 6'8", 330-pound left tackle out of Houston, JP Acosta, in shambles over that Mickey Mouse offense, bringing in dude after dude, seeing Jalen Hyatt eat at the New York Giants training camp this week. Route after route after route. The route trees, they're endless. The Hendon Hooker leadership, not even being ready to play in Detroit. You look at Cedric Tillman. Could he be wide receiver 1 right out of the gate? Is Princeton Fant going to get serious playing time for the who cares? Cowboys, Niners. Does he do it? It's unbelievable. Byron Young starting out of the gate here on the edge for the Los Angeles Rams. Is everything coming up Tennessee? JP, how are you handling it?
I want you to go look at that Rams roster. We'll talk about the Rams when we get to the Rams.
Yes.
But we're going to talk about them later, but I am doing good. Nevertheless, we continue on despite that goofy goober offense. And
all they do, put dudes in the NFL. All they do. We can joke about it. We can make fun of it, but the results are the results. Everybody wants to be hypeable. You have Brian Dable this week saying, I like Josh's offense. I like what they're doing down there in Tennessee. Everything. You know what's cool? Getting the Tennessee offense on Saturdays and the Falcons, we're running it down your effing throat on Sundays. We're not throwing anything past 5 yards. We get smash mouth football on Sundays that wins the division, and high octane, throwing it all over the place, tempo on Saturdays, where we're winning the damn SEC. Everything coming up, Vols and Falcons this fall. I am so ready for football and ready for my Atlanta Falcons and my Tennessee Volunteers to kick the crap out of most teams on their schedule this year. I'm fired up. It's going to be an absolute delight. I am so ready to go. Let's ride. Everything's great. Everything's great.
This is far too much optimism.
I have no idea what just happened.
This is so much excitement.
Chase just snorted a line of gasoline.
You should see me on game day, Evan. You should see me on Falcons and Vols game day. This is me. That's how we go.
What are you sitting in your rocking chair, casually sipping tea?
I am casually sipping tea in my rocking chair. Training fall camp starts tomorrow. I'm watching Bijan Robinson cook our super uber athletic Troy Anderson at linebacker. The dude's going to be used as just a Swiss Army knife right out of the gate. Kyle Pitts is healthy. Woo! Matt Collins is 9,000 pounds, just a full-on transformer out there at wideout.
They're running jet sweeps for Felipe Franks.
Hey, former 5-star quarterback Felipe Franks. Why not?
They're running
best offensive mind in football. Arthur Smith. What's he going to draw up next? Can he get Tyler Algier, Felipe Franks, Desmond Ridder, Drake London, Matt Collins, Kyle Pitts all on the field at one time? Who's going to get the ball? No one knows. It's great.
He needs
that was a motley crew of just mid that you just listed off right there.
It's more like you could say mid now. We're still winning the NFC South. That voice down there. Jarrett Bailey I should say up there, but in our Brady Bunch style video here, he is in the down right corner. Jarrett, good evening. How are you?
I yearn to have your amount of optimism and excitement. I've never seen you like that. That was eye-opening.
You should see me. I'm telling you, football season comes around. When I get amped, we're right there. We're 20-something days.
I have no idea what you're.
Football's here. I miss it.
No idea what you were talking about when it came to the Tennessee stuff, but you seemed into it. Very happy for you. But no, I'm doing well. I'm wearing the company Built in Buffalo actually sent me some free merch. This Josh Allen t-shirt. So shout out Built in Buffalo for the little care. So did Arby's.
Oh. Yeah, wait, why? What is going on there? How are you getting Arby's stuff? Because I want in.
Evan, have you eaten Arby's?
Exercise for extra fries. Arby's.
The guy that doesn't exercise, they gave you a dope shirt, man. I'm so jealous right now with like good intentions. I am so jealous right now.
You already got White Claw, Evan. How many sponsors do you need? Let Jarrett have
They gave
Arby's.
me a shirt. They sent me a letter with my
What?
name on it. Thank you for
love
being
it.
a loyal Arby's customer.
I love it.
It was awesome, dude.
Arby's is severely underrated.
Arby's is good.
I'm working on the Chili's membership. I'm working on the Chili's sponsorship.
Chili,
that's
their chicken and waffles are very good.
My
Chili's. They don't have chicken and waffles.
Yes, they do.
Chili's?
Yes.
No.
JP,
JP, am I crazy? Chili's does not have chicken and waffles.
That has chicken and waffles.
Where Carlisle, Pennsylvania.
There's no way.
That explains it. But
I've never heard of chicken and
I've
waffles at a
1 trillion
Chili's.
% have gotten chicken and waffles at Chili's.
And you know what's funny? There are so many things on that menu that where it's like I could see all kinds of stuff being on that menu because they just throw out pasta, chicken wings, baby back ribs, cheeseburgers, whatever. But I've never seen chicken and waffles.
Chili's chicken and waffles. I'm seeing a Reddit post from August 20th, 2022 that says, "Rest in peace. They are no longer serving it."
Oh,
How long has it been since you've been in it? Well, I mean,
it's been like over 2 years.
By the
since
way,
I ordered the chicken and waffles from Chili's. I don't go to Chili's a lot.
check out my next album coming out soon. It's called 3 Margaritas at Chili's. Blacked out, kicked out, 3 margaritas at Chili's on the ways.
Well, here's the thing about Chili's, and this isn't important for a chain, and this is why I grew up going to Chili's. I've watched many Hawks games out of Chili's. Eventually, I grew up and went to Taco Mac, like a grown up. I had to evolve and go to the Atlanta's own Taco Mac for those events. But Chili's is one of those places that I think if you blindfolded me and you just gave me 4 different things off the menu and you had me try each of those 4 things, I would like any of them. There's not a bad thing on the Chili's menu. There may not be any elite God tier item, but you will not be disappointed with any item off the Chili's menu, which is, I think, important. You can't go wrong.
Chili's has never let me down.
Yeah.
Anytime you can go in there and get that 3 for $10. You get yourself a little appetizer, get a drink.
This is the reality of when you have people on a podcast from Tennessee, Florida, and Pennsylvania. Lots of Chili's talk.
Real Chili's out.
Lots of big Chili's guy.
I'm a big pierogies guy.
None
I don't know what is pierogies. What kind of food is that?
You don't know what a pierogi is?
See, now we're getting far too Midwestern.
We're getting in the weeds.
Yeah, I'm in the Southeast. I don't know what a pierogi is.
It's like a rolled potato, or it's like dough with like potatoes and cheese inside of it. It's pretty good.
That looks good. This looks like ravioli. And
kind
what
of.
is this?
It's ravioli that you don't put sauce on. You cook them on like the stove. You don't like.
Oh, this looks good.
Yeah,
I would eat this. This looks good. I'm a fan. Also here, out there in Los Angeles, the elitist himself, Evan Sowards, he doesn't partake in us normal culture with our pierogies and our Chili's and our Arby's, even though, as I recall, Evan Sowards was a Chipotle diehard for a very long time. You were
Chipotle had its glory days, and it was one of the most inexpensive ways to eat healthy while you're working out.
When was the last time you were out of Chipotle? Are you done? What have you changed it with?
So Chipotle a long time ago, their company got a new CEO, and he started slashing the portions, the quality. So I haven't been in a long time.
I ordered a burrito from Chipotle like a year ago, and they gave me like this baby excuse for a burrito, and I was extremely pissed.
Yeah, the vibes aren't high over at Chipotle anymore. And I personally, I am lucky and fortunate to live in sunny Los Angeles. I can throw a rock and hit amazing taco trucks basically
We wouldn't
anywhere.
encourage you to throw any rocks at taco trucks, though.
That's accurately. It is a saying play on, but no, I'm very close to a lot of good food. I live literally less than a mile from an area called Sawtell, which is like a little Japan town. All the best pho and sushi and ramen in the city, and it's great. Can't complain.
Kung Pao chicken, I think, is a goated top 5 food for me. My wife and I got Chinese on Friday night, and I'd forgotten how much I love Kung Pao chicken. Kung Pao chicken is an elite food.
I think penne vodka is my favorite food on this earth.
I went to a
Can't go wrong there.
very nice Thai restaurant last night or this weekend. Nothing fancy, but like, it's like a hole in the wall, but it's like very highly rated, like the best Thai in the city. And I was like, I'm gonna order chicken pad Thai. Like this is gonna happen. I don't care that I'm a white guy ordering chicken pad Thai. Like I'm getting it. My buddies are like ordering all these fancy dishes. I'm like, I want my Thai iced tea that is basically a milkshake and my chicken pad Thai. And I was the happiest guy in the world.
I love that.
If you just put a pizza in front of me, I will eat it.
Bro, I've been craving the hell out of a white pizza.
Ooh,
White pizza with chicken and diced tomatoes. I don't know why that's been...
You had me until tomatoes. Tomatoes are my least favorite food. I hate tomatoes.
I've got good news and bad news.
Tomatoes are a love or hate thing.
Yeah.
Tomatoes are what the paste is made out of.
No, because I always go super light sauce. I do extra well done and then light sauce for all my pizza.
This is a weird conversation and I'm not enjoying the more and more we go.
Is your pizza just fucking crispy?
Yes, I want it crispy.
You guys need to make a trip out to LA. Just come out to LA for a football game or something. And
I'll be in your neck of the woods like this week 2 of the season.
Cool. I will show you the world.
Oh. And I will
take a magic carpet ride.
Wait, what has that song go? Aladdin. What is that?
I will show you the world. Anyways, football.
Classic Disney song.
Football.
It's a classic Disney song. Hey, Evan, how are you doing? I read this really great ESPN piece today on your San Francisco 49er quarterback room and the timeline with Trey, Sam Darnold coming into the fold, what Brock Purdy ultimately did here. Unquestionably QB1 Brock Purdy. There's debate who's going to be QB2 between Trey Lance and Sam Darnold.
Unquestionably Brock Purdy, who has looked very not good this camp so far.
Well, it's still relatively new. He's coming back from a UCL injury.
I've got thoughts. I thank you for the primer. I appreciate it, but it's not needed. I've got lots of thoughts. I have had an issue this entire time with the way the Trey situation has been handled. I understand what Brock did last year. I think what Brock did is very impressive. I think he had throws that I hadn't seen in a while. We've talked ad nauseum about it. But when he got injured, I was under the impression that Trey would have another opportunity to win the starting position. They traded 3 first-round picks for him. He never got to play with Christian McCaffrey, let alone everyone else. I just assumed that they were like, hey, we're going to let the best man win. But Brock's obviously got the edge as he did what he did. He went undefeated before the NFC Championship game. I think that would be fair. They didn't do that. They said Brock is the guy all the way through. Shout out to Jeff Christensen. Very, very good, QB trainer, QB coach, whatever you want to call it. He has been working with Trey all offseason. Trey had been working with multiple people before this offseason. He had worked just primarily with Jeff, and Jeff has worked on a lot of things. Trey has looked really good in camp so far. Today, he had what people called his best day of camp since he became a 49er. Camp is not the end-all, be-all. We all know this. Brock Purdy is coming back from a UCLA injury, like you mentioned. UCL injury, not a UCLA.
Went down with a case of Chip Kelly.
Yeah. And so, like, obviously there's a lot of context. There's a lot of nuance to the circumstances. But what happened today is why I thought it would be a good idea to just have a competition. Who knows? Maybe Kyle Shanahan is out here like, I want Trey to I'm going to want him to earn it. Like, I'm going to make him, I'm going to fire him up by giving the job to Purdy. Who knows? Maybe Purdy really is that guy. But so far, Trey Lance has looked like the better quarterback in the very limited time we've seen them in camp. And my thought has always been, you trade 3 first-round picks, you trade up to the number 3 pick in the draft, you take arguably at the time the second best player in the draft. I think, the second pick is quarterback. I would have assumed that they would have let it be a fair fight this offseason between Brock Purdy, who didn't get drafted very well at all, but obviously has done a lot of good since before the injury. What are your guys' overall thoughts from a non-biased perspective, because you're not 49ers fans, about how you would approach the QB situation currently? And I don't want to hear Sam Darnold's name one time. Anybody says Sam Darnold's name, I'm flying to.
Well, can we also mention that there is a scout, an unnamed, he was either AFC or NFC executive who was like, Sam Darnold's playing meaningful snaps for the Niners.
I don't.
The scouts will put his name on it.
The first
That's
thing
fair.
you say is the thing I told you not to say.
I'm sorry. I thought we were going to go Darnold any farther, but that was
we can talk about Darnold at the end if you need to, but I'm curious about your thoughts on how you would have approached this offseason with Trey Lance and Brock Purdy.
I can't be paid to talk about the quarterback situation in San Francisco anymore. But since you asked me so nicely,
I mean, but do you have any thoughts on the words that are coming out so far that Trey is looking significantly improved, yada, yada, yada?
I don't know, man. Like, I think with the run that he had last year, like, I get why they want to, I think Brock's kind of earned the right to go into camp as the one, just because we've seen a lot more of him than we have of Trey Lance. And what we saw of Brock Purdy last year is he played well in the system. They won a lot. They made it to the NFC title game. And the thing with Trey is, yeah, he probably has the higher ceiling. It's just a matter of, we don't know. Like, how many live reps has Trey Lance had since 2020? Right. Not a lot. And that's the big thing that it really comes down to is, how good is he really going to be? So we've talked ad nauseum about this for what feels like forever in San Francisco.
Well, it's not even just like 2020. It's forever. He had the fewest amount of college snaps or college passes of any quarterback ever. Was it ever 50 years? It was something bonkers of any first round quarterback.
College.
Because he had 318 or something total, something crazy at North Dakota State. So he was always viewed as this long-term project. And if you go through it, it's not even like a lot of it's Trey's fault. It was like the finger stuff, which was really unfortunate, where it made him throw differently over the course of the year, and then it just got progressively worse. And then he had to start over his throwing mechanics, and now he's working with different trainers. I feel like, and then obviously the ankle stuff, you can't really blame him for.
No.
And then the organization treated this whole thing super weird with Jimmy Garoppolo. Like, are they moving on? Are they keeping him? And they kind of botched that too. But JP, I feel like the thing I don't think you can shake the locker room up by putting Lance in over Purdy, because Purdy went on this run. And if you read the quotes from different guys, they were like, we were all surprised by like how confident and just kind of what kind of quarterback he was, where he just kind of took the reins and was like, I'm doing this. This is my team now. And I don't think the locker room echo chamber or ecosystem can handle that kind of flip-flop, or like you just kind of have to let Purdy, if he doesn't work out, if it was a shot in the pan, whatever, last year, you have to let that kind of fizzle out on the field. And then if that happens, you have Trey Lance ready to go, and then you turn to him. But I don't think you can actually go off Purdy based on how last year ended.
So objectively, this is all very, very dumb by the 49ers. This is all incredibly stupid. Trey Lance is probably going to win that job because Trey Lance is the more physically talented quarterback. That's what we're seeing in practices right now. Trey Lance has looked better because Trey Lance is probably a better quarterback than Brock Purdy. We just haven't seen him play in the NFL in meaningful snaps. I mean, the first game he played was in a monsoon that nobody could have projected a good passing offense in. Second game, he broke his ankle. What's happening now is, like, I understand the Brock Purdy thing, but Brock Purdy really didn't do anything that insane.
Yeah.
He really didn't do anything that special outside of he did one thing that Jimmy G wouldn't do, and that's when stuff starts breaking down, he will actually move out the pocket and try and figure something out instead of just spinning around in circles like Jimmy G.
And also, can we talk about how he is the quarterback that got to play after we watched Jimmy G for 3 seasons? So, like, naturally, everything is going to be more exciting.
Exactly. And when you add Christian McCaffrey to that offense, everybody is going to look a whole lot better. Everything looks a whole lot better when you have him in the offense. We haven't seen Trey Lance in this offense yet. there's still a very good chance that Trey Lance is what the Niners offense needed at quarterback. We've known, I don't think Kyle Shanahan actually wants a Kirk Cousins style of quarterback under center. I think he can win with those guys. He's shown he can win with those guys, but he doesn't want to win like that. He wants to make his job easier. I remember, I think it was during the pandemic when they played the Bills and Josh Allen just destroyed them with he had close to 100 yards rushing. He was throwing bombs down the field. And Kyle Shanahan after that game was like, yeah, we need a quarterback like that.
Yeah, it's in the piece where that's part of the rationale of them trading up for Trey Lance was they saw that and they're like, yeah, we need that.
You need that guy. There's
That's
still
another-
no reason
I'm sorry,
to believe that. There's still no reason to believe that Trey Lance isn't. And it's kind of what we're seeing now. Trey Lance is the better quarterback. I always said going into this, make it an open competition. If Trey Lance is as physically talented as you thought he was when he was a 3rd overall pick, he should be the starter. If he's not, you'll figure it out you'll figure it out later. But if he's winning the job now, it's because he's the better quarterback.
And the thing you touched on, him saying, yeah, we need a guy like that. That's why it was so flabbergasting to me at the time of the draft in 2021. All these analysts are saying, oh man, Mac Jones is the pick at 3. He's so much like Jimmy Garoppolo. If Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch wanted Jimmy Garoppolo, they had Jimmy Garoppolo. Why the hell would they give up all that capital to trade up for something that they already had? So I think that, we already touched on it. Trey Lance definitely has the higher ceiling. He's the more physically talented quarterback. Brock was plugged into a situation where he wasn't asked to do, similar to Nick Foles when the Eagles won the Super Bowl. And look what Nick Foles became after that. He went to Jacksonville and stunk. He went to Chicago and stunk. And then he rode off into the sunset, a hero in Philadelphia forever. That's great and all, but I think we really need to acknowledge the fact that he was plugged into a perfect situation where just about every quarterback that is plugged into it succeeds to some capacity. That's not to, bash Brock Purdy or anything. He made some throws when he needed to, but you plug him into Houston last year, he doesn't do that. This is much more,
But I think he deserves credit for that was a team win now. They were a team that, we're looking at as one of the 2 best teams in the NFC. They could have gone off the rails. He went 7-1 as a starter. He didn't do dumb stuff. He could have imploded. He could have
the only thing I want to say that
I wouldn't say he didn't do dumb stuff.
Well, he did stuff. He was
from a
I just
fan's
think he
perspective,
deserves some
Chase,
credit for I was Mr. Irrelevant and I'm still he carries himself and did stuff outside of the pocket he was the first round. He was traded up for 3 first round.
Well, no,
picks
but
by
he
the
literally
Niners.
was. He had multiple times a game for 7 games. He made throws that not only put points on the board when points were not expected, but he made throws where they were really impressive throws, no matter who the quarterback was. And he looked very good. But he also, like Jimmy, had Christian McCaffrey. Jimmy Garoppolo, who everyone thinks is a bad quarterback, played his best football ever once Christian McCaffrey joined the 49ers. So
go back and watch the Arizona game where they just demolish a god-awful Cardinals team. Jimmy Garoppolo's stat line looks fantastic, but a lot of it was, I'm going to throw it 5 yards to Christian and let him run the other 65.
So the only thing I will say, because I don't want it to go the entire time talking about that, some things that I think are really important right now with the 49ers to note, Brandon Ayuk looks like his time has come. He is here. I've been talking about Brandon Ayuk on this podcast since his rookie year about how he has the intangibles and the tangibles to be, an elite receiver in the NFL, an elite wide receiver 1 throughout all of Deebo's time, which was very well deserved of all the things that he was doing successfully. I always said Deebo's incredible. He's an offensive weapon. Wide receiver 1 is Brandon Ayuk. So it looks like we're going to get that. On top of that, 2nd year Drake Jackson put some weight on, is looking really good. Javon Kinlaw, who is always teetering on a bust because of injuries, they're saying is unguardable right now. And they traded for Hargrave from the Eagles, signed in the offseason because of the instability with Kinlaw. And now they might have both. There are really exciting things happening.
I think that defense is going to be good again, folks.
Yeah, there's so many exciting things that are happening right now for the 49ers. And it's like Tyrion Davis-Price, the running back that played, a couple fullback snaps last year because we had no idea what was going on. They're saying is one of the best looking people in the camp so far. What are you kidding me? Kyle might get another running back. Like I'm telling you guys, I get the quarterback situation is wild, but if you're a betting person, every game you got to put money on the Niners.
Here's the thing, though. The 49ers are turning into the Cowboys where every year it's their year, and then they end up just collapsing. So,
but the difference is they go to the NFC Championship.
That's great.
And lose with Jimmy Garoppolo.
That's fine.
You have Dak, and you don't even get past the first round.
I'll believe it. I'll believe it when it happens.
Dak
By the way,
always catching strays in this podcast. Not me, Dak.
Did you see that interception that he threw?
Dak,
could have been fair
Dak's not
Dak
Dak's throwing straight.
Two Dak respecters on this very show.
I'm not a Dak disrespecter, but I'm definitely not like, oh, he's the greatest thing since sliced. I'm somewhere in the middle. He's fine.
Dak is a great top 15 quarterback.
I think he's.
By the way, I did make a note. I did make a note
that
I wanted to point out.
Yes, sir.
Final 5 weeks of the season, Sam Darnold 6th in the NFL in EPA plus CPOE composite. That's all.
Don't you?
Sam Darnold in the NFC title game against the Dallas Cowboys. It's going to be interesting.
I will drop kick my TV if Sam Darnold actually plays meaningful snaps. Don't show me Sam Darnold. I don't care. I don't care. If Sam Darnold is starting week 1, I will punch Kyle Shanahan. You don't need to start him. Don't gaslight me into thinking that Sam Darnold's actually going to be a thing. He's not good. We've known this.
If Sam Darnold starts over Trey Lance this year, it's racism. I don't care. Wow. I don't care if I'm calling it. There's no reason. There's no logical reason.
Wait, can we say though that Sam Darnold should be QB2? Like no matter what, like he's the perfect QB2 because it's like he's the perfect backup. He's like he's told that
the perfect backup is.
That's why you have Purdy.
No, Purdy's not a backup. Purdy's got that dog in him. No, Purdy's a leader. He's not a backup.
Brock Purdy is like buttoned up Taylor Heineke.
I don't know about that.
No, Brock Purdy's Taylor Heineke on a better team with a better roster and better coaching.
He's literally just Taylor Heineke.
Brock Purdy was the last pick in the draft.
I'm thinking Taylor Heineke's going to play meaningful snaps for the Falcons at some point this year.
By week 10, he's the starter.
Brother, we've been on this.
We've been trying to tell you.
We have tried to tell you.
I'm concerned Taylor Heineke's hosting the first home playoff game for the Atlanta Falcons in their new stadium.
How about Carson Wentz?
Chase, you might be rooting for Sam Darnold this year.
No, he's not an Arthur Smith guy.
I'm all for it. Carson Wentz, the GOP QB.
You're giving us Trey Lance.
The Atlanta Falcons.
If Carson Wentz starts games, I will also punch Arthur Smith in the face.
Yeah, I don't think that's happening.
Don't show me Carson Wentz in 2023.
Yeah,
JP's rules are simple. He's got buy one get one free on hands.
Look, these hands are rated.
Anybody can get
everybody. Don't show me a 2023 where Carson Wentz is playing football. He's not. Don't do it.
Well, people loved our kangaroo fight conversation, so we're dangerously close to.
I'm sorry. I admit it was a selfish reason of me to point out Carson Wentz simply because I called him.
You love Carson. You can't quit him.
Here's the thing. I called him the GOP QB in one of my recent pieces for USA Today, and I thought it was clever and funny. And I'm really.
That's why they have Taylor Heineke.
I guess so. Yeah, they can have both of them. They can have the entire Tea Party. Just
all right. Let's move on. Good God. JP, could Everett Ingram, who's now got a new deal, logged in long-term here with Jacksonville, Calvin Ridley, former frenemy, now enemy with the Jacksonville Jaguars, looking good in camp. Zay Jones, Christian Kirk this week saying they could be the best offense in the league. Do you think there is a path to the Jacksonville Jaguars being the league's best offense this year? Do you think there is?
Yes. I mean, there's no reason why not when you have the play. One, you have the play caller. Two, you have the quarterback. And this is the best collection of wide receiver talent the Jaguars have had since maybe the late 90s with Jimmy Smith and Keenan McCardell. This receiver group is really, really good. All the reports,
the deepest one that they've ever had.
All the reports, it is absolutely the deepest one they've ever had. All the reports coming out of camp this year even when camp started, is that Calvin Ridley looks as advertised. That man is really good. Like, he just plays at a different speed than everybody else on the field. He's out there just dicing everybody up in one-on-ones. And what that gives you is a guy who can create easy separation. One of the problems for the Jaguars offense last year was nobody could really separate. Everything had to be schemed up. I'd rather, like, for a play caller, for a quarterback, it's cool to have everybody schemed open. But sometimes you need a guy who can just go get a bucket, like in basketball. Sometimes you just need somebody to say, like, call ISO and go get open and score. That's what Calvin Ridley's going to do. You add that on top of Christian Kirk, who can now fully play more in the slot. You're going to have Zay Jones on outside. Evan Ingram's still doing. Evan Ingram's basically like their speed guy, which is very good use. Evan Ingram is very fast. There's no reason why this offense shouldn't be one of the top offenses in the league. The only thing that'll really kind of slow them down is instability along the offensive line. I'm not even going to say it's like I don't think it's a bad offensive line. Honestly, I think they're just average, but Cam Robinson being out for 4 games and then he'll eventually come back and start. It'll create some kind of matchup problems along the offensive line. Ben Barch is still recovering from a knee injury. We still don't know what left guard looks like. Luke Fortner had ups and downs as a rookie at center. That's the only reason why this offense can't be the best offense in the league. But even then, it's pretty small. Like, the talent is there and the play calling is there.
Man, that should be interesting. I'm very curious to see what they look like because I think they're a sleepy, like they could be a number 1 seed this year, right? I think there is a path because of their division. I think there's a path.
I'm not going to say number 1 seed because the Chiefs are just really, really,
but
really, really good.
The AFC West could be better, and the Chiefs have a tough schedule.
The Chiefs are really, really good.
We've said that like the last 2 years, and Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes have just said, "Who gives a shit?" We're Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes.
It's not even that this year. The defense is going to be really good for the Chiefs this year.
That defense this Chris Jones situation, though.
That defense is going to rock. If Chris Jones plays, that defense is going to rock. And again, this is also me like saying, like, I'm not very sure about how good the teams in the AFC West are actually going to be. A lot of major questions there. But there's no reason to doubt that the Chiefs are not going to be the number 1 seed. And then if they aren't, I mean,
they're still going to be
maybe. I think the Jaguars can probably get maybe as high as like the 3 seed, which is a perfect year for me. Like I'm totally fine with a 3 seed in like year 2 of the Doug Peterson era, year 3 of the Trevor Lawrence era. Come on, like that's perfect for me.
Do you know who might have the best offense in the NFL?
Don't say the Niners.
San Francisco 49ers.
They probably might. I don't know. I think the
Cowboys are in that conversation.
Did you see Dak's interception today?
I think.
Come on.
I think
Brandon Cooks, Tony Pollard. Brandon Cooks is going to be good.
They probably will have a top 10 to 12 offense this year.
I think that's fine. Yeah.
I think
top 10 to 12 offense. That's fine. Yeah.
I think the best offense in the league this year is going to be the Dolphins.
Ooh.
I think if Tua stays healthy, they were arguably the best offense in the NFL last year.
Oh, I have a question about this too. Okay, so I was listening to a basketball guy talking about like how he's heard from it was a True Hoop pod, Coach Thorpe, who is awesome. He was talking about some NBA prospects and something came up football related, and y'all can answer this better than me. And it's something I hadn't really considered, but like, is it because there aren't many southpaw quarterbacks that come through the league? Like, why? His thing was that hear from coaches like you should carry only backup left-handed quarterbacks if your franchise guy is a left-handed quarterback, because it throws everything off if that guy gets hurt and you have to go into a right-handed. Like, does that actually affect anything if they have to go from like? Do you think there is something to it? Maybe it's more at the high school level or college level. It's a bigger disparity, but because they're pros, they can adjust. Or is that something where the Dolphins should be signing backup left-handed quarterbacks if you're going to roll with Tua?
I think I think it is. It does affect a little bit, but I think that effect is kind of negated by the fact that these are pros and the best of the best at their sport. The ball coming out of the hand in a different positioning is absolutely a thing. That's why quarterbacks and receivers, like when a new quarterback gets around new receivers, they train all the time to get that rapport down, get the timing down, get where the ball is going to be released. That's why they get all that stuff down. I think the ball coming out of the hand differently is a thing. I don't think it's a huge thing that can't be masked by having Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, who like can adjust to any pass thrown.
Yeah, Fred Biletnikoff was asked because they had Ken Stabler, who's a left-handed quarterback, and they used to be frowned upon back in the day. And he asked if it was, any different playing with a left-handed quarterback, and he said, "I don't care what hand he throws it with. If I see the ball coming at me, I'm gonna go get it." So this is at the pro level. I don't think it makes. If there is a difference, I don't think it's much. So nah,
it's definitely a thing in baseball. Like I was someone who like every left-handed kid has a why it sucked playing little league as a lefty story, and I got hit so many times. Like I'm convinced I made the All-Stars at the Devil Rays because I had an OBP of like 785 because right-handed kids did not know how to throw to lefties. Like when you're in little league, it's just a huge adjustment and there aren't many, so they're throwing erratic and it's just really hard for them not to hit you. So I got hit a lot. So a lot of lefties just don't keep playing baseball out of T-ball or little league because they're tired of getting hit. Like if you don't embrace these right-handed kids beaming you over and over again, you're not going to stick with it. Like it's a rite of passage in baseball for lefties.
As a left-handed little league player, I got hit a lot.
Yeah, you know what it means. Like it happened.
Exactly what you're talking about. I got hit more times than I actually had a chance to hit the ball.
Yes.
So I see what you're saying.
Yeah, it's a thing, but with pros, I guess it's fine. So stop hitting lefties, please, and give us left-handed deaths in schools. That'd be nice. Jarrett, final thing before we get into our NFC West preview here. Jonathan Taylor requested a trade from the Indianapolis Colts this week. Now there's rumors like Jim Irsay is tweeting through every development as any owner should. What do you think ultimately happens here, and where are you at with just the running back situation and Jonathan Taylor's situation in general going into the last year of his deal?
I mean, we've talked about it on this podcast already, extensively about the running back problem in the NFL. In terms of Jonathan Taylor, I mean, he seems very adamant. I mean, we saw the pictures of him at camp just mean mugging the entire day. It looked like he would rather be anywhere else. Like he looked like he would rather be like the DMV than dealing with all of the things going on with Colts camp. And it doesn't help when your owner is tweeting basically that your position doesn't matter.
We're all gonna die anyway.
We're all gonna die anyway. Who cares? And apparently, he called Jonathan Taylor into like a meeting on his bus. I can only imagine you just sitting there in his 9th scotch and his 3rd cigarette, just like, shut up and go run.
In a robe with no underwear on. Just, please don't open it.
Like I don't.
By the way, that was a very Kyle Shanahan-ass quote when he was like,
yeah, I was going to say, I didn't think anything could top Kyle Shanahan saying like he didn't know if any of us were going to be alive on Sunday.
I can't guarantee anybody's going to be alive on Sunday.
Jim Irsay is like, hold my scotch. I'll top it. Watch this.
Jim Irsay is really out here like, I'm going to die tomorrow and nobody cares.
So I mean, Taylor seems pretty adamant that he wants out. Jim Irsay saying he ain't going to trade him. We could see a situation where Taylor just doesn't play. I mean, that's definitely...
Well, not only is he like not going to trade him, but we were seeing like, we might just not even pay him for that final year.
He's like, actually, what we can do is just, we'll find a thing where we'll just put him on this and maybe he just won't get paid. How's that sound?
Just giving him a big fat middle finger.
Yeah, just thanks for leading the NFL in rushing a couple years ago and just becoming a breakout star that we were hoping you'd become when we drafted you. Here's a big pot of go F yourself and good luck in your future.
And it's like Anthony Richardson's like, can we stop? Like, I'm not ready. Give me I'm not ready for this. Give me Jonathan Taylor.
Chris Ballard's probably pissed off.
Oh, yeah.
Like he can't do his job without Jim Irsay tweeting some dumb shit. He needs to go like, they need to have like parental lock on Jim Irsay's phone. He cannot be allowed to tweet during certain hours of the day.
Jim Irsay's like Carter Peterschmidt from Family Guy, where he just gets goofy. He's just old rich dude who has nothing better to do than just be an idiot.
Yeah, and
he's got some Kendall Roy vibes.
Oh, whoa. Yeah, a little bit of Kendall Roy vibes, but like the thing about the Jonathan Taylor situation is Jonathan Taylor is very, very good at football.
Yeah.
And the Colts should pay him because he's very, very good at football and what they're going to ask him to do and what they want the offense to be this upcoming year. They need Jonathan Taylor back there. Anthony Richardson, one of the biggest things about him, was he didn't have a lot of snaps around a lot of guys who weren't very good. So naturally, the first thing you do is get rid of the best offensive player and be like, "Hey, man, good luck." That's
plus
very
Zach
smart.
Moss just broke his arm and is going to be out
Zach
for
Moss
6 weeks.
broke his
too.
arm. Good
You know
luck.
what bothers me about that the most too is the disrespect that these running backs get. Like Jonathan Taylor is 2 years removed from being the best running back in the NFL and then didn't have a bad season. Just obviously the team struggled because the team struggled, right? That's why they got, where they got. They took the quickest opportunity to be like, no, we're not going to pay him. Like, imagine if last year would have been 2 years ago, like his stats and production. What do you say then? Like, would they have still not paid him? Like they use one injury and they go, well, we can't do it.
And not to
He
mention,
deserves
they've got a quarterback on a rookie deal. They've got the cap space to do it. You'd think that they would want to make life as easy as humanly possible for Anthony Richardson and be able to be kind of similar to what the Eagles were. Lean on the run game. Lean on what Anthony Richardson does well. Let him use his legs while he's learning on the job and figuring out, how to be an NFL quarterback. And they are just, it's not, I shouldn't even say they, because the Colts, like JP said, if I'm Chris Ballard, I'm annoyed. If I'm Shane Steichen, I'm pissed. Like, it's Jim Irsay just kind of sabotaging his own operation. And now you're risking the development of your first round pick quarterback, who, if he comes anywhere near his ceiling, is an alien that we haven't seen in the league. And you're really risking his development and his growth, and you could definitely stunt it and impact it by, who knows how long.
Could NFL owners collectively decide not to sign Saquon Barkley and Jonathan Taylor after this season?
That's collusion. They've done it before.
That's what I'm saying. I've started thinking about that today. They're both free agents after this year. Like, this is it. And
next year's running back free agency class is loaded. Yeah.
And it would not, I hope to God this does not happen, but it was something that came across my mind today, that they're both going to be free agents after this. And based on how the current situations are unfolding in New York and Indianapolis, I just don't know what their markets are going to be based on what they might be looking for after this year. And the Niners can only absorb so many running backs into their scheme.
There is one team in the NFC West who would absolutely,
the Rams.
The Rams would absolutely throw picks and money at Jonathan Taylor to get him on that team.
Well, they didn't have to throw picks. He's a free agent after this year.
Well, they could trade for him now.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
They don't need to do that. Just wait a year.
I think they.
Well, I think they were looking at this year as a gap year, right? Like, wasn't that the thing? Is like they're trying.
In this situation, if they were to trade for Jonathan Taylor, then great. They go from being 5-12 to 6-11. Huzzah!
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how
set
big
the jet running things. If Matt Stafford's not ready,
I don't know how big of a gap year you can really consider it when, if you still have Matt Stafford, Cooper Kupp, and Aaron Donald, you're not going to be bad enough to be like. You're not going to be bad enough to be in the top QB.
But the rest
race.
of that roster, JP,
No, I know it's.
Well,
bad.
let's hold it. Let's hold the Rams, because we're going to get to the Rams in the NFC West. We'll get to the Rams. Predictions, though, on what ultimately happens here. Evan, round robin quickly. Do you think Jonathan Taylor has already played his last snap with the Colts, or do you think he makes it back this season?
No, they got a young QB. They need that type of person around him. They'll figure it out.
Jarrett, what do you think?
I'm leaning toward he gets dealt, but at the same time, we thought that was going to happen. We thought things were going to happen with Saquon Barkley, and then 2 days later, he's signing a new deal for a year. So
I think this is uglier than Saquon's. I think Saquon's
much uglier than Saquon Barkley's. So if gun to my head, if I had to bet on it, I'll say that he's played his last snap with the Colts.
JP, what do you think?
I think he holds out through the season. I don't know if he plays as a Colt. I don't know if he plays anywhere else, but he's not going to play as a Colt. I don't know if he plays somewhere else, but I think this holdout is going to last through the regular season.
I think it's going to be very Le'Veon Bell-esque, where he said, okay, if you don't want to pay me, I'm not going to play.
Yeah.
So it could be like that.
I tend to agree. I think he's played a last game as a Colt, and I also think the market's gonna be bad. And I don't think you're gonna see. It's gonna be a while. Like he may get traded in like week 10, and he's
It's
just
gonna
been on the
suck for
shelf.
running backs until 2030 when they renegotiate the CBA.
Yeah. Well, there you go. NFC West, though. The 49ers, the best reason why, Evan, that they will win the Super Bowl, the best reason against, and if not this year for San Francisco, do you think their window is still open for the next couple?
The window's open. They're going to be signing another best player in the NFL at their respective position in a couple days with Nick Bosa. The window's open. Kittle's under contract. Trent Williams is under contract. I don't think the window will go. I don't think the window's going away because they draft well. They keep hitting on these people like Talanoa Funga and I can go on. I think they win the Super Bowl because they have the best roster in football. I think if they don't win the Super Bowl, it's because of the quarterback situation. Yeah, like I said, they have had a stacked roster and they've been a dominant team for a long time now. But I think this is their best year. Is
Juwan Jennings starting, by the way? Is that happening?
He's starting fights in camp. Is what he's doing. He started a fight in camp today.
It doesn't really matter if Juwan Jennings is going to start. He's probably not going to play that much. The Niners basically base themselves out of 21 and 12 personnel with Juszczyk on the field.
Yeah.
He won't play that much.
Yeah, he'll get a couple snaps. I mean, it'll be like it was last year.
He'll be the 3rd and 4 hero when they stick him in the slot and he catches a stick route.
Right.
Hey, the man, he's a legendary big game catcher. Many people forget. Shout out to that game in Georgia 7 years ago.
7 years ago, my goodness.
It was a long time ago now, yeah. Josh Dobbs, Jacob Eason, the battle people forget. Jarrett Bailey, do you think the Niners window is going to be open for the next couple of years? Do you think that they are going to win the Super Bowl this year? Are they the favorites right now in the NFC? And then your biggest issue with them breaking through finally this year?
Okay, I'll try to go one by one there. Do I think their window is open for the next couple years? Yes. I mean, they've got the talent. They just need to figure out the quarterback situation. Do I think they win it this year? No, because they don't have the quarterback. And even if, going through all of this drama in the offseason, I just don't see that culminating in a Super Bowl win. Are they the favorites to do it? No, the Eagles are because they have a great roster and a quarterback. And in terms of even if the 49ers do get there, I'm not betting against Patrick Mahomes. I'm not betting against Joe Burrow. I'm not betting against Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, God willing, Trevor Lawrence. I'm picking the team from the AFC until further notice. So that's where I stick on the 49ers. Are they going to have a playoff run that takes them to at least the divisional round? Probably, because the NFC isn't very deep and they're much better than the vast majority of that conference. But when it comes to if they get to the Super Bowl, I'm taking whoever they're playing.
JP, what do you think?
All right, so I'm gonna make this good podcast. I'm gonna make this good audio for people to listen to. Sure, I'll say they can win the Super Bowl. I think they should. I think if it's not now, it's probably not going to happen. It's got to be within this next couple of years, because you're gonna have, if Trey Lance starts, you're gonna have Trey Lance on the rookie contract, and you might not have him for that long on the rookie contract. You got what?
10 more minutes.
This will be year 3. You got 2 more years, maybe.
Yeah, but they're gonna get him on a cheaper deal because of all of this. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, they're gonna sign it. They're gonna lowball him.
They'll give him a 3-year deal. He'll get a 3-year deal. It'll be great.
But yeah, they should win this year. I mean, outside of the issue at quarterback, I think the only thing that's kind of a little hesitant is, Steve Wilks coming in from Carolina. We're not sure how exactly that defense is going to translate. Is it going to be a 1-to-1? We're just going to run the same stuff D'Amico did, just with a little Steve Wilks flavor?
I will say that Diamador Lenore told me that everything was going really well with Steve Wilks. He loves Steve Wilks and the system that he's put in. So he's enjoying it.
Well, Steve Wilks is a DB's coach. The DBs are going to love Steve Wilks.
Yeah.
I am very intrigued to see who kind of breaks out this year among the secondary. I think who was it? Last year was Hufanga. I think the year before it was another safety. They've had Jimmy Ward back there before this past year. I'm curious to see who kind of breaks out among that secondary. I'm curious to see how the run defense looks. I think that was a major issue outside of Eric Armstead and Nick Bosa. Eric Armstead, who remains one of the most underrated defensive tackles in football, he is still very, very good, but doesn't get a lot of recognition because that defense is just nasty. Yeah, they should win the Super Bowl. I mean, if they're going up against Mahomes, or I mean, I don't really bet against Mahomes. I'm not gonna bet against Mahomes, but like they should win the Super Bowl. Like this team, like Evan said, has the most depth and talent in the NFL. It is solely on the quarterback position and the choice that they make and how good that person plays. But even if not, you'll know they can at least make the NFC Championship because whoever the backup is will just throw for 400 yards and destroy everybody else.
Sam Darnold.
That's not who I was talking about.
The thing about that, though, is like if you're trying to make a really good pizza, you can have the best pepperoni, you can have the best cheese, but if your bread's shit, then you're probably not going to have a very good pizza. So, and right now, they don't have good bread, and the bread being the quarterback.
Well, I would counter that by saying I don't know if the quarterback is the foundation of Kyle Shanahan's offense. I think Kyle Shanahan has proven partially in his offense the QB partially doesn't matter. Like it's cool. It's great to have a guy like Trey Lance who can elevate that, and I think that's what he wants.
I would argue, man. I want to let you finish, but I would argue as someone who's watched Kyle Shanahan every step of the way, the QB matters more than anything in the world, because when you don't have a QB that really can do more than what's asked of Kyle Shanahan, this is what you get.
That is fair. And I see what you're saying. I just think with the best offensive designer and play caller in the league, that opens a margin for error. But like I said earlier in the show, you want a quarterback who can elevate that. Trey Lance starts, he's going to elevate that offense. Brock Purdy starts, you know what you're getting.
We want the Matt Ryan the season. We don't want the Jimmy G season.
The Matt Ryan MVP season?
Yeah. We want that type of
First ballot Hall of Famer Matt Ryan. Also, can I say, can we guess, by the way, how many Kubiaks are on this coaching staff right now?
3.
How many Kubiaks are like a thing? I was going to say 2.
There are 2, and they're both. One's the offensive coordinator. So their defensive line coach is Chris Kosarek. Yeah,
best defensive line coach in the league.
So that's important. So when your Steve Wilkes is coming over, like you have the continuity there on the defensive line. So it's like, hey, that will only help at worst the secondary and everything else. However, there is a quote. This just can't be real. I really love this. So there's a Clint Kubiak who spells it with a K, and there is a Clay Kubiak which spells it with a K. So there are 2 Kubiaks on this coaching staff. Clint and Clay.
Clint Kubiak used to be the coordinator, I think, the Vikings.
I think that's right. And the Broncos. I think he followed his dad. I think he had something with his dad in Denver too.
Nothing like nepotism.
I don't know why you would say that, Jared. It seems like there's nothing of the sort, but I don't know what you mean. It's all very normal. When we go to the Rams, Jarrett Bailey, best reason why they bounce back in 2023, and the best reason, or the biggest reason they don't bounce back and are just kind of a bad football team this year.
If they do bounce back, it's because Matthew Stafford hits the field with the strength of 1,000 men and lightning shoots from his ass. If they don't bounce back, it's because Matthew Stafford's arm is a noodle at this point, and we had reason for concerns about it last year, and we still do. And because outside of Stafford, Kupp, and Donald, this roster stinks. It's not good. Like, here, let me. This is great. Now, Puka Nacua, that's my guy. I think he's going to be kind of like their discount Debo in that offense. They're going to use him in a lot of ways. But like Ben Skronik, your uncle's favorite player, for the same reason Taysom Hill was a few years ago.
Respect fullback Ben Skronik. Northwestern alum Ben Skronik.
That's great. He's not good.
Okay. Go ahead. I'm going to let you finish.
The offensive line, like Noteboom struggled last year. haven't seen. Coleman Shelton. They drafted Steve Avila from TCU to try to fill in that guard spot. Look at this defense, man. Bobby Brown is going to be their starting nose tackle, opposite of Aaron Donald and Kobe Turner on the line. Then it's Ernest Jones, who's a player. He's solid. On the back end, Russ Yeast is their starting free safety. Michael Hecht, Christian Roseboom, Kalichi Amalakabiki.
I need you to stop making up names. I need you to stop making up names.
These sound like default creator wrestlers from WWE 2K. The roster isn't good. The thing with the Rams, though, is they have a good head coach in McVay who's going to raise their floor. So, yes, we can look at the roster and say, oh, my goodness, it's so bad. And if Stafford's not good and they end up turning to like Stenson Bennett at some point in the season, like they'll probably be somewhere hovering in the range of a 5 to 7 win team just because McVay, but it's not looking good, man. I think they're trying to convince themselves that they can still be a playoff contender, but I don't think they are.
What do you think, Evan?
I just have no idea why Matt Stafford came back.
He's come back for multiple years. His wife revealed it on her podcast that he's like.
I understand. He's got to be in better shape physically than we all think.
Well, that was the other thing. I think she did say that he's feeling the best he's felt in a long time. That Matt Stafford is coming in pretty healthy here.
6-11, money can do a lot of things, even if you're not going to be great. Like Jay Cutler came out of retirement to stink too.
Matt Stafford had that OG rookie top pick contract. Matt Stafford's got money.
Yeah. Well, he's also been through the battering ram. Like he's taken a beating for over a decade in Detroit, and it's just kind of caught up to him because he's only finished.
Not only is it caught up to him, he was taking beatings last year before it got hurt. That's why they went and got Steve Avila. I think, like Jarrett said, this roster is bad. The offensive line is probably going to be bad again. Maybe. I think Rob Havenstein's he's cool. He's a cool right tackle. Joe Noteboom played bad last year before being hurt. But I do think they're going to go towards more of a schematic shift along the offensive line. I think it's going to be more gap-based running outside of the outside zone that we're used to seeing, which is partially why I think they're thinking about signing or trading for Jonathan Taylor, because the Cam Akers experiment is not working for them. So, I mean, go sign Jonathan Taylor. It's something that the Rams would do. I don't know if I can see more than 5 wins for this team. And mainly because they open up the season at Seattle, at home against San Francisco, at Cincinnati, at Indianapolis, at home against Philly, Arizona, Pittsburgh, Dallas, Green Bay. Then they have the bye week 10.
That's like 3-7.
That's really rough for a team that's going to be starting a whole bunch of rookies on the back end. Not only a whole bunch of rookies that were not drafted on day 2.
Rookies.
These are a lot of bad. I'm not saying bad rookies. These are a lot of rookies who were not drafted very high. I struggle to see how they're going to generate pass rush outside of Aaron Donald. Byron Young, going to be a rookie. Don't know how that's going to adjust real quickly. They have Michael Hoek, who was a defensive tackle before they moved him outside last year. He's playing out on the edge at 285 pounds. Good luck with that. This team's going to be bad, but with how bad like everybody else, especially the team we're going to talk about later, with how bad everybody else is going to be, I don't know if they're going to be bad enough to be in quarterback discussion.
Right.
I have a prediction. I think if Cooper Kupp, Aaron Donald, and Matt Stafford play 17 games, I think they make the playoffs. I think they're a wild card team.
I don't think that's going to happen, man.
You can play 17 games and still suck.
You guys,
I don't think he can. I think there's a too high of a ceiling for Cooper Kupp and Matt Stafford.
Yes, no, we're not doing this. The Rams aren't winning 6 games.
I think they could easily get 8, 9, 9, 8 territory with a healthy season from Cooper and
Chase.
And
the
Stafford.
Roster is depleted.
They have a great coaching staff. I love what they've done with the coaching staff. The coaching staff's strong.
The coaching staff isn't on that offensive line.
not only coming off an injury, he's 30 years old coming off an injury. I love Cooper Kupp. That's not.
I think
that's
he's
not
going to
normally
be
a-
really good for a long time. Cooper
Hey,
Kupp's
listen,
normally a
man.
good sign
Cooper Kupp
for
might be
receivers.
fun on your fantasy football team.
He's gonna see a lot
They're
of
not
targets.
winning football games.
I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me if they get a healthy.
If for
I'm
them
gonna
to
start
make the
making supercuts
playoffs,
of the shit you say, man.
for them to
I
make the
swear to
playoffs,
God.
the offensive line would have to gel instantly and play a whole lot better than they did last year.
They'd also
We
have
didn't
to have better records than Seattle and San Francisco.
We didn't even talk about Brian Allen, who played really, really bad last year.
Wait, is that 49ers legend cornerback Brian Allen?
No, that's the center for the
Oh,
Rams.
gosh. Okay, I was
who's
gonna say, that guy's
very,
bad.
very, very bad. Logan Bruss was hurt last year, played Coleman Shelton. There are a lot of questions on this team. I don't know if they're all going to be answered this year. And this is the result of pushing all the chips in and winning the title.
And hey, they would do it again, man.
I would-
Hey,
I would-
I'd do it.
I would
They
do
won. They got it.
100 more times.
The
I would
Lombardi's sitting in
every
that office
single
right
time.
now.
They have the title. They have the rings to prove it. I don't care, man. But this is the result of that, of trading all those picks and not getting anything good back for Jalen Ramsey, which is going to come back to bite him in the ass.
And even if like the offense does play well, they're going to have to win like a bunch of like 38, 37 games because that defense is going to be god awful. It's not like I'll give you the fact or the opinion that maybe Stafford comes back really good, Cooper Kupp comes back really well. They very well could, and they can have good numbers and they can have that chemistry that we've seen them have. But even then, man, they're going to have to be.
I think their tight ends will be really good too. Higbee and company. I think they're going to have. They bring in the tight ends coach from New England. I don't know.
Hanging a playoff prediction on the tight ends coach from New England is a bold statement, Chase Thomas.
Who was the backup tight end for the Rams?
Who is it now, or who was it?
Who is it now?
I think it's Davis Allen, right?
Bryson Hopkins.
He's third. Davis Allen's third string.
Okay.
The
what about Hunter Long?
The backup
is Hunter Long still in the? Is Hunter Long in the fray?
Yes, because he was the guy that got traded for Jalen Ramsey, who is also on the physically unable to perform list. So,
but he might not be the whole time.
Starting off the season great on the injury front.
I'm not saying I am 100% saying. I'm saying there's a path. I'm saying it's like it would not surprise me.
There's a path if the Rams to me dating Megan Fox too, man. But it ain't.
I don't
happen.
think there's a path, Jarrett. I don't think.
Chase, there is. If you don't think there's a path to that, I don't know how you think there's a path to the Rams winning or going to the playoffs.
You don't think Megan Fox would want to go out with a dude who got a letter from Arby's?
I mean,
I just don't understand though, Chase. The Rams literally have a top 3 worst roster in the NFL.
But I'm saying, I
don't think it's 3. I think it's like top 2 and not 2.
I was giving him the benefit of the doubt because I know
you know what I'll say.
No, what I was also going to say is like how many teams where if they have a top 10 quarterback and top 10-ish offense miss the playoffs? Like
I don't think
happen.
I don't think that offense is going to crack top 10, man.
But would it surprise you?
Yes. They might. Yes, it would surprise me a whole lot.
Okay.
Matt Stafford couldn't move his neck.
What were they last year? What did the Rams finish last year?
5-12.
Chase, you do this sometimes, and it drives me insane. Like, there's no reason to be optimistic
for you.
What were they?
Let me go in my handy dandy.
Offense, they were 23rd.
And they got worse.
Yeah.
Do you know what their actual projection is, though?
Oh, God.
Do you know what their projection is? Oh, their projection. Never mind. That's last year. My bad. It was 9 wins last year, so they underperformed
last
a little bit.
Last year in DVOA, the Los Angeles Rams were 23rd in the league. And past DVOA, they were 25th, 19th in rush. Unadjusted DVOA, they were 27th. I don't know, man. No.
Let's pull it up. You want to talk about what their odds? Over under 6.5 wins.
I think
that's probably a safe bet. That's probably a safe bet on what their over under actually is. Hold on.
Well, excuse me. The odds are plus 110 over. Or
over
excuse me,
okay, right.
Over 6.5.
Okay, well,
that's an easy under. They might win
6 and 11.
Okay, can I say this though? Matt Stafford was rated number 12 in the league coming into this year from PFF in best quarterbacks. The teams in front of him, or quarterbacks in front of him: Tua, Dolphins, playoffs; Dak, Cowboys, playoffs; Cousins, Vikings, playoffs; Lawrence, Jaguars, playoffs; Eagles, Hurts, playoffs; Ravens, Lamar Jackson, playoffs. Jets with Rodgers, probably the biggest question mark of this group, playoffs. Chargers, Herbert, number 4. Burrow, Bengals. Allen, Bills. Chiefs, Mahomes. If
Now
this
go back
holds
to
and he's the
that.
12th best quarterback, he would be the only quarterback
Now
on
go
this list
back-
not to make the
Now
playoffs.
go back through that and tell me who else is on those teams for those quarterbacks.
I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying we haven't, I just think this is still such a QB friendly league that if you get 17 healthy games of Matt Stafford, I would not count them out of making 9-8, making the playoffs as a wild card. I just wouldn't do it.
I feel like making a bet on this. I feel like I need to.
This feels like a bet. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I think the Rams do what the Seahawks did last year. I think the Seahawks missed the playoffs, and I think the Rams make the playoffs. There we go. I'm doing it. I think the Rams are making the playoffs.
You know what? I'll give you credit there because everybody thought that the Seahawks were going to be the worst team in the NFL last year, and they surprised a lot of people. So I'll hear that argument.
I think the Seahawks take the step back, which naturally brings us, JP, to those Seattle Seahawks. Do you think they are Super Bowl contenders? Do you think this is a group that can build off what they did a year ago? Was it a flash in the pan for Geno? Did they do enough? Jackson Smith and Jigba comes in. Great 3-man wide receiver room with DK, Tyler, and Jackson. Their running backs, have you heard this one? Have you seen this? The running backs in Seattle kind of banged up heading into the year. Who would have foreseen that Seattle just keeps drafting running backs and they're just never healthy? Where are you at with the Seahawks? What does your gut say?
My gut says playoff team. I think they'll be a playoff team again this year. I think the offense is going to be even better than last year. Geno Smith was one of the best deep ball passers in the league last year. While deep ball variance doesn't exactly translate towards him being a great again in the deep ball this past year, they went out and addressed that by adding Jackson Smith and Jigba, who was going to feast against slot DBs and linebackers in the 5 to 10 yard areas because he doesn't have to play outside now. He's got Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf on the outside. The offense is going to be just as good, just as dynamic. They retain the staff. Shane Waldron stays. I thought he was going to get a head coaching job somewhere. Was kind of surprised that he didn't. But the offense is going to be good once again. Defensively, there are a lot of questions. The first one is, how are they going to stop the run? They let go of Poona Ford. Al Woods is gone. That defensive tackle, outside of Draymond Jones, who is more of a interior pocket penetrator than he is a true nose tackle. I wonder how they're going to stop the run up front because they were very, very, very bad at stopping the run last year, and asking Jarrett Reed to play nose probably isn't going to work. I really like Uchenna Nwosu. He had a great year last year.
Just got extended.
Very quietly, very good edge rusher. Devin Witherspoon and Tariq Woolen are going to be fun. I think there's a little bit more variance. I think Tariq Woolen had a good year last year. I think the picks kind of inflated how he actually played. There's a lot of Trevon Diggs to Tariq Woolen's game, which is fine. I mean, Trevon Diggs improved a lot, just got paid a whole lot of money. Tariq Woolen can do the same thing. Devin Witherspoon, very physical, very aggressive, very much a Pete Carroll style corner. They get Jamal Adams back this year, which is going to be interesting for how this defense is going to play. I really want to see how he looks in this defense. Quandre Diggs is very good at safety. I didn't even talk about the tackles. Their rookie tackles last year, Charles Cross and Abraham Lucas, played really well for rookie tackles. Charles Cross was thrown into the fire immediately at left tackle, played really well. Abraham Lucas played really well at right tackle. There's no reason why they shouldn't be a playoff team outside of just the run defense completely falling apart. And when you're in a division against San Francisco, and in an NFC where running the ball is going to be very, very, very prevalent, that's kind of an issue.
I did want to continue highlighting Uchenna Nwosu because I featured him in my all breakout team. Just some extra stats on him: 9.5 sacks last year, 3 forced fumbles. His PRP score, which combines sacks, hits, and hurries relative to how many times they rushed the passer, he was 12th in the league in that. He had a quietly really good year. He got paid this past offseason. He definitely earned that. I'm excited to see what he continues to do for the Seahawks. But I'm with JP, man. That this feels like a playoff team. Their offense is going to be pouring on turf. Geno's just going to be dealing deep and dumping off to Smith-Njigba, who's going to run past a lot of people in the slot. Question is a little bit, and can the running back stay healthy so they don't have to be just completely reliant on the pass game? But the defense got better, offense got better. Like Devin Witherspoon, Tariq Woolen, that's going to be fun. I'm excited about Seattle, man.
Their schedule, they got really lucky here. So they get the Rams at home, and then they go to Detroit, Panthers at home, at New York, at Cincy, but you get a bye before you go to Cincy.
Jets are at New York Jets or New York Giants?
Giants.
That feels like a win.
Yeah, and then you get 2 weeks before you go to Cincy. And
the bye
then
week being early kind of hurts them. Their bye week is week 4 or 5. So,
but you get Cardinals at home, Browns at home, at Baltimore, but you get the Commanders at home, at LA, the Niners at home first. I mean, this is a pretty doable. This looks like a 10-7 type schedule to me when I'm going through it.
Well, see, the thing about the Niners is Pete Carroll just like the Niners have been like his recent like thorn in his side post Legion of Boom.
Yeah.
Because Kyle Shanahan did was just destroy the cover 3 that Pete Carroll used to play and embody a lot of. So now that schematically this is the second year of it being changed. So it's going to be fun to see what they do defensively. They should be a playoff team. I mean, they kind of squeaked in last year. I don't think they squeak in this year.
Okay. I like it. As we wrap up here, final team, Evan, I feel like you're good. You can have fun with this. The Kyler Murray lists Arizona Cardinals. Is there any path to them not being the worst team in the NFL this year? Is there?
I think when Kyler gets back, and maybe if they are playing the 49ers at the end of when do they play the Niners into the season?
I'll check right now.
I don't think Kyler's coming back.
They don't play the Niners.
I was gonna say I don't think Kyler plays this year.
No, they play him December 17th.
December 17th. It's week 15.
Yeah,
why,
I think that's
why would Kyler Murray come back if they're 2-12? What does he have to prove?
Well, I mean, I'm just saying that they normally play like the last couple of games of the season. I don't know. I wouldn't.
Who is Greg Dortch? This man's starting in the slot. Who is Greg Dortch?
Some white guy.
My head says that they might have the worst record in the NFL. My heart says I can't. Please, dear God, I do not want them to get that quarterback from USC.
There is no chance in hell that this team is not the worst team in the league this year.
The only thing that's like helps me is that maybe they keep Kyler, but I think he's too good.
Who's in the running with them right now? Who are the favorites? If it's not the Cardinals, who's worse?
If it's not the Cardinals, to me, it's the Raiders.
So it's for me.
Raiders, I don't think so.
The Cardinals, whoever finishes last in the NFC South.
Yeah.
Tampa. Yeah, Tampa could be in there too.
Tampa or the Saints.
Yeah.
Or the Falcons.
Hold on. That's enough. I was waiting for that. That is more than enough, JP.
The Falcons are going to be
for.
They're going to be so bad this year.
I'm going to virtually scissor that answer, JP Acosta.
I said whoever finished last, and that includes all 4 teams in that division.
No, it doesn't. There's no path to the Falcons finishing last. There's too much talent.
You said it. Listen, if there's a path to the Rams making the playoffs, there's absolutely a path.
No, Arthur Smith overachieved. Arthur Smith, his offense and his style has a high floor. There's no path to the Falcons finishing last.
8 wins, 7 wins is overachieving.
Logan Woodside has been the best quarterback in camp for the Falcons so far.
I'm gonna hang up.
That is a problem. That is a very big issue.
That sounds like a name from like 1950s, like the black and white, like old time. Oh, here comes Logan Woodside after throw the football.
But yeah,
Chase, we're not trying to give you a hard time. We are trying to help you soften the blow when it happens inevitably.
They're winning the division. There's nothing to soften. There's no path to them finishing last in the NFC South. I'm not.
You are in the NFC South. Every team can finish last.
It's a garbage dump.
But I mean,
he's gone 7-10. He went 7-10 last year and finished 4th.
Wow,
he's not finishing last year.
7 wins was impressive when it was 16 games.
I'm shaking in my boots.
We were talking about the Cardinals. We'll get to the Falcons at some point, and I'll defend them like Jon Snow in the Battle of the Bastards. But for right now, back to the Cardinals.
They're both bad red bird teams, man. It's the same.
So
we're not the same as the Cardinals.
You're right.
Don't put that evil on me,
The
Ricky
Cardinals
Bobby.
will be bad because their quarterback's gone.
Not only that,
the
not
Falcons
only
will just be bad.
Not only will the Cardinals be bad because their quarterback is gone, their roster also is really bad.
Yeah, it's really bad.
Like
JP, have you heard of any of these coordinators? I look at it once a day. I have never heard. I have been covering this league for 32 years of my life. I don't care. Out of the womb, I was in ourlads.com memorizing depth charts, memorizing coordinators, and I have never been at a point where I'm like, I have no idea who these coordinators are. And I still have no clue who the offensive and defensive coordinators are in Arizona and where Jonathan Gannon pulled them from, because it is the most no-name, random college guys all over the place on this staff. I don't know if that means it's going to be terrible, but are you in the same boat? You're a college guy too.
Here's the problem with their their staff. There is nobody on that staff with head coach experience at the NFL level. There's not a lot of people with assistant coaching staff experience on that staff. I think there's one guy on that staff who has experience calling plays at any capacity, and that is Jonathan Gannon, who might not have actually like schemed up that defense as much with Vic Fangio in his ear. Their coaching staff is also very, very young and is probably going to be very, very bad, because not only did they just pull a bunch of first-year guys, they pulled a bunch of college dudes too.
Yep.
Not only did they pull a bunch of college dudes, they pulled a bunch of college dudes from Temple. I don't know if you guys watched Temple football last year, but they freaking sucked. So it's good luck, man. Good luck with that coaching staff. The roster, it's Cameron Thomas.
Baker's good.
Sanders. Sure, he's good.
He might get traded.
I don't think he's going to get traded, but
he took some.
I think
it seems like came to like a money deal type situation where he felt the hell staff.
I think the saving grace is that White Suge Knight and Vance Joseph, they invested a lot in that secondary. That secondary is quietly very fun. Marco Wilson, known for his shoe throwing lore, actually didn't play that bad last year. Jalen Thompson, Buda
also,
Baker
he said he didn't regret it, by the way. Folks.
Good.
In the last week, he was like,
double down.
He doubled down. An incredible double down. You don't see that very often.
Isaiah Simmons is finally playing safety, which is what everybody's been telling them to do since 2020. But up front, they're going to be horrendous. They're going to be very bad. Terrible, horrible, no good, very bad. Offensive line, also going to be terrible, horrible, no good, very bad. Paris Johnson Jr. should be fun. DJ Humphries is fine. But the interior of that offensive line is going to stink. And one of the problems that you have with a short quarterback, one of the things you have to do is protect the interior of the offensive line, so we can actually see over the middle. Problem with that is they have a bunch of short quarterbacks and an interior offensive line that really stinks. Not a good sign. Their tallest receiver is maybe 6'3". So,
do you know who goes to Arizona on November 12th? The Atlanta Falcons. And we can put this nonsense to bed when the Falcons stomp.
I can't wait. Win. Fox is going to put their 9th broadcast team on that game, and 3 people are going to be watching.
What is the date on that game?
November 12th.
Oh, God.
So that'll be their second win of the season?
Well, that's what I was going to ask. So the Cardinals, they also, November 19th, the following week, at Houston. Is that a battle for the number 1 pick the following year?
The Texans are going to be good, man. Not good. They're going to be
Texans
fine.
are going to be good.
The Texans aren't going to be bad enough to have the top pick. So
okay,
they're not. The Cardinals are not going to. The Cardinals are not going to have the 1-2 this year. They're not going to.
So when do they get their first win? One to here at Washington. Do they get the win there to open the year?
No.
Okay. New York at home.
No.
New York who?
Giants. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, that's probably true. Cowboys at home.
No.
Probably not.
At San Francisco.
No.
Cincy at home.
No.
At Rams.
No. Not without Kyler. Not without Kyler. Don't do this. Not without Kyler.
At Seattle.
No.
Baltimore at home.
No.
At Cleveland.
Nope.
Okay, so they're overs going into the Falcons game at home.
Hey man,
So that's why like 0-8.
Don't you do this. I'm going to hang up this freaking call. The Cardinals get their first win of the season against the Falcons.
I
Yeah,
didn't
won't.
that would be the 0-9 Cardinals.
Yeah.
I didn't
at
say
that
they were
point.
gonna win. I'm just saying if they're gonna pick up a win at any time before this bye week, it's gonna be at home against the Atlanta Falcons.
I tell you what, if Kyler Murray does come back for whatever reason, I could see them beating the Bears on Christmas Eve, but the game's in Chicago, so I might take that back.
They had that game Christmas Eve. Wait, is Christmas Eve on a Sunday this year?
Oh, that's a good question.
That's got to be the only reason why they have that as a Christmas Eve game.
That would be my guess.
It
It's a
is a
4:25
Sunday.
game, so it is a
Yes,
Sunday.
it is.
Christmas
a Sunday.
Christmas Eve is a Sunday. Okay, because I was gonna say whoever scheduled for a special Christmas
Merry
Eve
Christmas.
game
Here's
featuring
Cardinals
the
Bears.
Cardinals and the Bears.
But they were thinking maybe Kyler Murray, Justin Fields. Like, that's not a bad idea. And
Yeah, last year on Christmas we had Rams and Broncos. That was Merry Christmas.
That was actually a very funny game because
Yeah,
Baker Mayfield stunned.
Yeah.
yes, I forgot
Yeah.
all about that. Oh my
That
god.
was Sean McVay got deep into the bag of the old 2018 Sean McVay playbook. And
I see. Oh, sorry, JP.
No, go ahead. I was just laughing at the Broncos again.
I see absolute maximum 3 wins. I think that they could beat the Bears depending on how they look. I do think the Bears will be solid this year, though. I think that they could steal one from the Rams just because the Rams are also going to be putrid. I'm not going to dunk on your Falcons like everybody else is. I think they'll be fine. I think they'll be like between a 7 and 9 win team. I don't think they're gonna beat Atlanta.
If they're gonna get any win before the bye, it's gonna be at home against the Falcons.
It's an argument I would listen to, but I do like the Falcons roster. I like their defense, and I don't think that Clayton Tune or David Blau is gonna carve up a respectable Falcons.
No, AJ Terrell's in that
again-
secondary. Jeff Akuta,
But buddy,
Mike
Jeff Akuta
Hughes.
just got traded from the team that drafted
D.
him
Alford.
third overall.
We're ready.
Counterpoint.
Clark
This is
Phillips.
This is the Atlanta Falcons, and nothing ever happens normally for that team.
That's fair.
It's a-
That is a
it's a
very,
road
very
game.
good point. Jake.
It's a road game. 1, 2. Like I said, they're not going to pick up any more wins before the bye week.
I'll give you a few scenarios for like other possible wins. Like
We're
okay, so
taking
they
the
play-
podcast week off, by the way, if the Falcons
They-
lose
one,
to
two,
the
three,
Cardinals.
four,
I can't do it.
So
Y'all
week-
will be unbearable.
Week 8, they host Baltimore. If Baltimore has health issues and Lamar's gimpy again, maybe. If Tyler Huntley's strolling out there, I could see them winning that game. I'm just giving you scenarios that could happen. If Deshaun Watson sucks again and they go to Cleveland, they could beat the Browns, maybe. There's a lot of ifs and buts in here, man. Where they've
And it's also
I see 2-15.
They're relying on players getting hurt for other
Yeah.
teams
Yeah,
for them to get a win.
I think 2-15 for the Cardinals is
I would
probably
like-
going to be what my final projection is.
I'd like to inform everybody that the Week 12 game against Los Angeles, the Rams in LA, tickets start at $22.
That's absurd.
And the game in Arizona against the Rams, $29. The home game against the Ravens, tickets are as low as $23.
That game's in Baltimore too, isn't it?
No, it's in
Oh,
Arizona.
is it at home? Okay.
Evan, are you going to Arizona for Cardinals 49ers again?
No.
The home
Okay.
game? Oh, that's not even
No, that was just a
Oh.
very no.
the home game
won't.
against the Falcons. Does anybody want to guess what tickets
Oh,
start?
$17.
$17.
It's
Oh,
19.
great minds.
19.
How much is it?
$19.
Oh my god.
Yeah. There's too many good games to go to this year to be wasting it on that.
If you're in
It's a guaranteed
the-
win though.
if you're in the Arizona area and on a Sunday you just want something chill to do, just go catch a Cardinals game. Nothing's gonna.
Their stadium
They'll
is
pay
so
you.
far away that the Uber will literally cost more than the ticket.
It'll only cost you like $20. You
No,
get
the
in
Uber will be like $35 to $45. It's so
yeah,
far.
the Uber will be more than the ticket you pay the game to
100%.
watch Clayton
Dog,
Tune.
the beer will cost more than
Clayton
the ticket.
Tune versus
Gonna
Taylor
watch
Heineke
Clayton
in
Tune
November.
and Desmond Ritter.
All right, I'm
stink it up
over all of
until
this.
November.
Y'all can't hurt me anymore. You won't do this to me.
Oh,
This was
we
not
don't
supposed to be a Falcons roast.
we don't.
I
This one-
didn't build that. I didn't build that roster.
We don't need to hurt you. The Falcons already do.
Yeah, what do you think? I made those choices.
Listen, we are just casual observers of the pain that this team has brought upon you. We want to try and stop this cycle. We're
By the
friends.
way,
trying to help
why have
friends.
we never said Desmond Mitter?
Oh, that's good.
Right?
You should tweet that.
With them passes,
Desmond Mitter.
with them passes he was throwing, he needs
Should we get Chase a custom jersey?
with them passes he was throwing today, he needs to be putting the Desmond shitter.
Oh man. Oh
Dang.
JP Acosta from the top rope. Chase, here. I know that we weren't planning on talking about the Falcons, but I will say this. I like the roster. I like the signing of Jesse Bates, Calais Campbell. I think is a good veteran presence to finally give.
David Onyemata.
Sure.
Great offensive line. Drake London, best rookie wide receiver last year. Bijan
No,
Robinson,
Chris Olave
rookie of
was,
the
but
year
that's-
favorite this year.
They brought over Caden Ellis from the Saints, so I think, in a full-time starting role.
Troy Anderson, absolute athletic machine at linebacker.
Can he
That'd be
play
fun.
football? You can be as athletic as you want. If you can't play football, it does not matter.
Irrelevant.
Erroneous on all fronts.
Oh my God. Jarrett, what can I go back and check out from you across the internet this week?
Oh, goodness gracious, so much. My all breakout team on USA Today, my 5 bold predictions for the NFL season, USA Today, all of this, just Google Jarrett Bailey, USA Today, or Touchdown Wire, whatever you want. A lot of stuff that our team is doing over there, led by Doug Farrar. So go check all of our stuff out. A lot of good stuff. What else did I do? Oh, grading all of the most recent contract extensions. I think I did 12 of them. There's 12 big ones over the past 2 weeks or so. So I graded them from best to worst. That is the most recent one. And then me and JP are now sort of co-workers. I'm the deputy editor now for Behind the Steel Curtain on SB Nation. So a lot of Steelers stuff. I'll be at Steelers camp Friday and Saturday, doing a lot of live reports for the Friday Night Lights practice, and then Saturday, pads will be on. So there'll be a lot to look forward to there at Behind the Steel Curtain on SB Nation. So yeah, a lot of internet Jarrett Bailey going on right now. We're getting into full work mode for the NFL season, and it's the plate is full. It's going to be a fun time.
There you go. JP, what about you over on SBNation.com? And also go listen to JP on the latest edition of the Mina Kimes Show. Just great stuff there. But where else can people check you out this week?
Honestly, just check my Twitter at Acosta32_JP. I'm at SB Nation. I don't know what I have planned for this week. Honestly, I'm still trying to wrap my brain around the fact that the Hall of Fame game is Thursday, and I feel excited but also unprepared.
I can't wait to gamble on the Hall of Fame game like a degenerate.
I also got to actually start doing college football stuff because college football is right around the corner. Got a preseason top 25. I got some pretty fun NFL draft takes starting. I'll be starting with a story that I'm writing about Marvin Harrison Jr. and just going to be writing, watching tape, doing the normal football film grinder stuff. So just follow me on Twitter, see what I'm doing.
There you go. Evan, you're at Evan Sowards. 49ers Hub.
Follow Jarrett, JP, and Chase's content, because if you're listening to this, it's the only place you need to be to hear me talk.
No, it's always a good time. We all miss Evan freaking out on Sundays. Evan tweeting through Niners games is something that we have not had in a very long time. It needs to be brought back.
I am curious what's going to happen. I'm curious. This has been.
What do you mean? We know what's going to happen. You're going to tweet through it. It's going to be a lot of all caps. It's going to be a lot of up and down. It's going to be crazy.
Being doom tweeting a 34-17 Niners win.
Yeah, that's Niners fans in a nutshell. We only won by 14. Our quarterback sucks.
Well, Kyle always wants to do some dumb shit in the first quarter and then score 30 points in the third. So what am I supposed to do?
Yeah, that sucks, man. Try sweating out 16-13 wins every week and come back to me. Okay. This is
I would feel bad for you if you weren't a Steelers fan. If it's a close game, you know what to expect.
Try going down 27-0. That was not good for my spirit.
And then there for that game, JP? Were you in the stadium?
I was in the stadium.
Was there. That was oof.
My entire
an all-timer, but I will say I said in the bar I was at with my father-in-law and my wife where I was 27, I'm like, Jags are winning this game. And he was now that I'm like, Jags winning this game. This is the most Chargers ending of all time. The Chargers are the Falcons of the AFC. It's happening. This 27-0's happening.
Chase's text message felt like a punch in the face. Then he sent me when the Chargers did that stuff.
Yeah.
I was so convinced. Like my entire thing last year was every time I watched the Jaguars, they would lose. The last time I watched the game they played on TV was when the Lions dropped 40 on them and James Houston folded Trevor Lawrence, and I almost cried. So I stopped watching, and in the next game after that, they came back against the Cowboys, came back against the it was the Ravens.
Wait, let me quickly ask you. What do you mean you just don't watch your favorite team?
I'm very superstitious, man. If it gets to a point where all the games that I watch, they end up losing, I won't watch and we'll just.
I mean, dude, I went to 2 Trey Lance started football games.
Do that, man.
The first,
but I'm also like have a job covering the NFL, so I can
so do I.
I can just watch other games and be very interested in what's going on.
No, I can't do it.
So I'll legit just like, hey, don't talk to me about the game. I'll watch like the replay of it. It got to a point where like the Thursday night game against the Jets, I didn't watch that one. I was like, I went to the gym because I was like, I don't want to be around that game. They ended up winning. They destroyed the Jets, and Chris Streveler, like they humiliated Zach Wilson. So going into the Chargers game, I was like, you know what? I'm going to see if this curse is actually a real thing. They go down 27-0, and I get told by every Jacksonville Jaguars fan to leave my seat. So I go and watch the game from like the little bar area, and that's where I saw them make a comeback. So, we're going to see what happens this year. I'm going to watch game 1. If they lose the first game, I will not watch another game.
Bro, as a fan, I can just like I have such FOMO if I even come close to missing anything when it comes to just being. I cannot do it, man. That kudos to you for being able to do that. Like
I'm just incredibly superstitious. It's always been a thing for me. Even when I was playing football, I had to do everything in a certain order or in a certain way because I knew if I did that certain way, we were going to win the game or I was going to have a good game.
I didn't have to worry about that. I was never good enough at sports to be important enough to have to think about that stuff. I was the white guy at the end of the basketball tournament who did the handshakes with all the good players and then really just cheered my ass off on the bench. Hey, I got my district medal like everybody else. That's fine. I got in garbage time and was the scrappy white guy who played defense. That's fine by me.
Like, look,
district. Everything's different in the North. District medal, not your region championship. Your district medal.
I think those are oxymorons. I think those are synonyms for each other. Where
I think they are, but it's just like it's a different thing. I think it's a northern thing. District.
Now, so I'll tell you my quick basketball story before we go. So I say I was like the white kid. My entire school was just it's a school in the middle of rural Pennsylvania. We were all white kids. But we get to the final 8 of states my sophomore year and play this inner-city school from Pittsburgh. And dude, they shat on us. It was ungodly. Like I got in at the end and this dude dunked on me and I feel like his left ball hit me in the chin. Like, dude, it was fucking brutal. I played
AAU here in Georgia basketball, and an actual thing that happened.
Lovely stuff.
JP, Evan, Jarrett, thank you as always, and I'll talk to y'all next week.
Well done, nephew. Chase Thomas Podcast. Hell yeah.